Products used and tear out of old stairs. Let products acclimate before installation products are used, and tear out old stairs. Marking and cutting carriage. Mark and cut the carriage to remove half walls to prepare for new installation. Marking and cutting stringer. Both the closed side and open skirt board layout can be marked with the use of angle gauges and a framing square. Begin by marking out the necessary number of rise and run dimensions for your stair and cut stringer. Removing treads. Remove treads and any old excess glue. Stringer installation. Ensure stringer is level across the width of the staircase. Shim as necessary. Nail stringer into place. Install skirt board. Measure, cut, and install the skirt board. Install risers. Rip risers to a height that is slightly shorter than the total rise. On an open stair, pre-fit the closed side of the riser and then trim the mitered open side. All risers should be nailed or screwed into the rough carriage. Use carpenter's glue or construction adhesive on the mitered joints and secure with small finish nails. Measure and install treads. On an open stair, cut the closed side of the tread until the proper angle is achieved against the closed skirt board and trim until the mitered return portion fits snug to the outside skirt board. The width of the mitered tread may need to be adjusted for the overhang, which usually adds 1 1/4 inches to width. Nail or screw the treads into the rough carriage and into the top of the riser along the front of the tread. Landing tread. Apply tread at all landings and along all balcony portions of your stair with construction adhesive and nails or screws. Landing newels. Lay out and position newels on the landing. Fas-N-Fast Newel fastening instructions. Step 1. Using a 2-inch hole saw, drill a hole in the center base of your newel post. Use a router to bore out the hole to 13/16 of an inch deep. Drill your pilot holes and attach Fas-N-Fast using number 10, 3.5-inch galvanized deck screws, not included. Step 2. Mark center for the finished location of your newel. Secure Fas-N-Fast to the floor joist using number 10, 3.5-inch galvanized deck screws. Note, if installing Fas-N-Fast on a starting step, place a block below the finished location of the newel and secure Fas-N-Fast to the block. Step 3. Thread the newel post, rotating clockwise, to the installed bottom portion of your Fas-N-Fast hardware. Half newel install. Anchor half newel to stud with screws. Sanding primed products. For best results, each part should be sanded with fine sandpaper. 220 grit sandpaper works well. Apply 1 or 2 coats of an interior top coat finish, being sure to follow the manufacturer's instructions. Slipfix handrail instructions. After the newels are in place, fit and temporarily install the handrail. Lay the straight piece of the rail on the nosing of the treads alongside the edge of the 2 newels. Using the square face of the newels as a guide, scribe a line on the rail at both top and bottom of the stair. If the newels are flush, the cut lines will work when the rail is raised to the proper rake rail height. The best way to establish proper rake rail height is to measure from the front of the tread to the top of the handrail. Measure the handrail on the balcony or Slipfix. Step 1. Mark a position for a 3/8 of an inch hole onto the end of the rail. As an alternative to marking handrails for drilling, the rail bolt drill guide is available, making it fast and easy. Step 2. Mark and bore 1 inch and 3/8 of an inch holes as indicated. Step 3. Mark the final position of the handrail onto the post, observing the center line. Step 4. Assemble the shaft and gear housing into the rail. Step 5. To mark the center of the keyhole disc, measure 1 1/8 of an inch upwards from the bottom of the rail position. Using a 1-inch bit, bore a hole into the post 9/32 of an inch deep so the keyhole disc is flush or slightly under. Secure the disc with screws. Step 6. The shaft should be flush or under the surface of the rail end. Using a 5mm hex bit in a tool or an Allen wrench fitted into the gear head, the shaft can then be moved to engage into the keyhole disc. Then simply push the rail down and tighten. Balcony balusters and dowel screws. Using a 4-inch spacing, determine the alignment of the balusters. which is where the balcony center line and the Newel center point intersect. The total measurement of the balcony, converted to inches and divided by 4, will give you the amount of balusters needed. Rule of thumb is 3 balusters for every foot. Measure the length of the balusters to the top of the plow and square cut the top of the balusters to length. Drill a 9/32 of an inch pilot hole into the treads to accept the baluster screws. Using the 3033 baluster screwdriver attachment in your power drill, install a baluster screw into each of the pre-drilled holes in each tread or baluster until the runner contacts the wood surface. Insert each baluster into its corresponding pre-drilled hole underneath the handrail. Slide the baluster up and over the dowel screw in the tread and screw the baluster down into the dowel screw. Baluster spacing on the rake and treads. Code used is 4-inch spacing. In this case, the run of the stair will allow us to place 2 balusters per tread. Balusters are aligned when the outside and front faces of the baluster align with the face of the skirt board and riser. So on the 1 1/4 inch balusters, the intersection is 5/8 of an inch from both the skirt board and the riser. If 1 3/4 inch balusters are used, then it would be 7/8 of an inch. You'd then use the center point of the first baluster to determine the location of the second baluster. Space is calculated from the center of the first baluster and half the run to place the second. So if the run is 10 inches, you would place the second baluster 5 inches from the center of the first baluster. Square top baluster install. Require a plowed rail to accept the top of the baluster and fill it to fill the plow between the installed balusters. All cuts are made with a chop saw set to match the angle of the stair. Using baluster placement, you would plumb up to the rail, which would be set at the correct rail height. Scribe a line through the upper block of the baluster along the underside of the rail. The depth of the plow must then be manually added to the original line to achieve the final point of cut. To fasten balusters into the tread, use dowel fast screws. When the baluster is cut to fit at the top of the rail, install using adhesive and finish nails through the upper side of the top of the baluster. Nail holes placed near the top of the baluster will be hidden by the fillet. Install the fillet with adhesive and finish nails. Angled Slipfix install. Rake the handrail connection with the angled zip bolt A3001. Step 1. Cut the rail 90 degrees square. Then mark the proper angle on the railing, 1/8 of an inch in from the cut. Step 2. Mark the center of the rail on the 90 degree cut, up to 15/16 of an inch from the bottom of the rail. Step 3. Drill a 1-inch diameter hole in the bottom of the rail on the center line, 2.5 inches from where the angle line and 15/16 of an inch dimensions intersect. Hole should be 1 3/8 of an inch deep. Step 4. Drill a 3/8 of an inch diameter hole in the end of the rail. Hole should be 3 to 3.5 inches deep, drilling past the 1-inch hole. It is very important that the 3/8 of an inch hole is drilled before cutting the angle on the rail. Step 5. Measure 1/8 of an inch in from the end of the 90 degree cut in the rail. Mark the correct pitch and start the cut at that point. Step 6. Measure the distance from the top of the rail to the center of the 3/8 of an inch hole in the pitch cut. Step 7. Mark the newel in the center and at the proper height to achieve rail height. Step 8. Drill a 1/4 of an inch pilot hole 2 1/8 inches deep. Step 9. Install the rail bolt in the post with 2 7/8 of an inch of bolt protruding. Verify that the bolt ends in the vertical position. Step 10. Slide the rail onto the bolt and dry fit to be sure of proper angle and fit. If another cut is needed, take the least amount off to correct the cut. The 3/8 of an inch deep hole that was drilled should allow enough room for you to make this adjustment. When proper fit is complete, apply wood glue to contact surfaces, insert the gear head and tighten into place with a 5mm driver or Allen wrench.